Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reignite Your Sparkle. I'm Ingela, and I'm your host. And today I have the great pleasure of having the beautiful Lindsay Marten Ellis with us. Hey, Lindsay, how are you?
Hello, so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I am very excited about today's topic, but I'm going to tell you first who Lindsay is. So Lindsay Marten Ellis is an embodiment guide, a transformation mentor, a spiritual teacher for rising change makers. She's also a writer, speaker, podcast hostess, human design facilitator, and a mystery of divine feminine. There's the clue what we're talking about. So the divine feminine and feminine energy. Love it. There's so many of us living in that masculine state, and we're not aware of it. So what are some signs that we are living in that masculine state? And that's where we like realizing it. Okay, and what can we do to change it, obviously? So we'll talk about all this, but like, what are some signs, or like, I'm in my masculine state right now?
I love this question. Well, yeah, we'll be diving in a lot more.
Yes.
But, as a collective, we've been operating in a masculine state for many, 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 many thousands of years. And this isn't about men and women, although the way that the human mind can latch onto things, gender helps. So just know that this transcends gender. And we're moving from a masculine paradigm, which is very, much around the human mind, very cerebral, very competitive, very hierarchical, very much about lone wolfing a lot of the times, I versus we. And there's a lot of the energy around the masculine is very electric.
Mm-hmm.
It goes out and gets, right? That's how we've all been wired, right? We're going to go do this thing. We're going to have a goal. We're going to have a desire. We're going to set an intention. We're going to go out and get it. And we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep failing forward and keep falling and getting back up. And there's a time and place for that. But we're missing the mark on the feminine, which I'll kind of throw it back over to you. But we're kind of in this place now of going to the growth edge again of like, what even is the feminine? So we're going to start to see things become in more coherence. So this isn't about like women taking over the world in leadership. Of course, there will be that, but this is about coherence with all beings walking in wholeness. And men also get to step into their feminine energy as well, right? Yeah. Just like sensitivity, right? So many men are taught we can't cry, you've got to be tough. And we're starting to see more masculine male figures in the limelight that are showing more vulnerability, showing more connectedness. So that's the feminine, right? Yes. Intuition, connectedness, slowing down, community. So I'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, the whole gathering, right? So when we are in our masculine, it's like it could be at work, right? But then what happens is we might be that go-getter at work, at the office. We come back home to our partner, friends, significant other, children, and we're still in that role of the masculine. So then there's conflict, right? Because then and again, everybody has feminine and masculine in us. Know what? Like you said, it's gender neutral. It's everybody has it, right? And we get to choose. For me, it's like, what do we step into, right? When we get stuff done, we're in our masculine, but then we get to come back into our feminine, because it's my belief when we're stepping into our feminine, we slow down, we feel more joy, we are more connected with ourselves, we actually take care of ourselves more, self-care, and there's all these elements to it. And when we don't step into that femininity, we are losing that. So it's all about like bringing that back into ourselves. That's how I see it.
Yeah. And do you mind me presencing
Absolutely. Go ahead.
something.
This is back and forth. We're
Yeah.
just going to go with it.
I love that you presence this. And, you know, for some of you tuning in, you may already very much be in the exploration of like, oh, what does it even mean to be in my feminine energy? Some of you, this may be new, and I'm very much I am a leader who likes to peel back the curtain and show you that it takes time, it takes practice, it takes devotion, it takes being messy and trying things on. And, you know, if we're used to operating from that electric type of energy all of the time, then we start to kind of go to our growth edge. That's what happened with me. I see it all the time where it's like, oh, I'm going to go dance with the goddess, and I'm going to go, you know, do rituals and be in circle and ceremony and take Epsom salt baths and light candles. And yes, that is part of it, but it's almost how, as a human species, we're like, oh yeah, this is so much more fun, right? It's like we're a kid again and we're starting to explore. And then we start to recognize, ooh, okay, this is what it feels like in my body. This is who I am. This is how I can dance between the two poles that reside within us, because that's how energy works, right? Everything is a toroidal field. So we're literally operating in masculine and feminine all the time. So we're just not aware of it. So now there's that awareness. We can start to kind of come back into coherence. And the one piece that I feel I want to mention is when we're used to operating in the masculine frequency and we start to move into the feminine, it can be a little bit clunky. From my experience, we're in a time of reversal where we're now going to actually operate from the feminine first, because that actually connects us with our intuition, with the wisdom that already resides within us. And then we can leverage the masculine, which is the strategy, which is the electric, right? Which is like, okay, I'm going to put this into action. So that's how I live my life now is, okay, first I'm going to center, I'm going to connect, you know, with whatever spiritual practice. I'm going to be in my body. I'm going to honor my body. And then once I receive the clear guidance from that connected space, then I'm going to create from that space. So we're just switching things around. And it can feel confusing at first because we're so used to believing that the mind is king and the mind is all knowing and every decision gets to be made from that space. But the ancients had the women in the tents, connecting with nature, connecting with their ancestors, who were really in community and in sisterhood, that would then let the tribe leaders of these indigenous cultures, hey, here's what to do with this information. Go out and do it. So we're just coming back to our true nature, which is truly to work in unison in that way and to trust that connection with the divine, whatever we want to call that, you know, universally loving intelligence.
Yeah, I love that because this is all about tapping into and embodying your feminine energy, your feminine essence, because for me, there's different parts. And I don't even know what I was living in when I was in my past life before I started finding myself again. I think I was probably in the masculine. But inside I was hiding the feminine because I was afraid to be vulnerable. Ooh, like vulnerability. Ooh, like I just learned that a few years ago to step into that because I thought it was a weakness.
Yes, that's common.
Right. And it's like, and I realized it's a strength.
Mm.
Right. It's like, wow, if you can be open and vulnerable, and women and men, and I see more men being that with me as well. It's opening you up and it's showing you who you are. Because I did not cry for probably in public for 44 years.
Yeah. And you're not alone.
Yeah. Not showing emotions.
Yeah, that's a lot of my work is emotional work, because I do believe, thank you for presencing that, because that is the first place to start, is learning how to be in relationship with our emotions and starting to release the stigmas of what it means to be feminine. And what's interesting is, I know that we'll probably get into this later, but I use so many different tools and modalities, and human design and the gene keys are one of them. And my evolutionary gene key. And it's okay if you don't understand it. There's these tools that are living transmissions that help us come back to center, right? So we have almost these soul blueprints that show us this is who you came into this world to be. And they help us with our course correction, which I love. And
gene keys. It's a new word for me too. When you mentioned it before, new for me too. It's not just you guys out there. Me too. I'm learning too. Every time I do these interviews.
Totally. Yeah. And there's all these, right? There's all of these different tools, but what's interesting is there's a key, right? And it has to do with the Chinese I Ching, which is an ancient, modality that lines up with the 64 hexagrams, actually line up with the codons in our DNA. So there's all of this science that's now proving that we actually can change our DNA through our environment. We're not victim to our DNA, which is the old paradigm. But what's fascinating about what you said about weakness is my evolutionary gene key. So one of my challenges that I get to overcome in this incarnation is the shadow of weakness.
Ooh.
And transmuting that shadow in my DNA to tenderness. And the whole premise is around the divine feminine. So I feel very passionate about this work and these conversations because it's also so intimately connected to why I'm here. I'm a former engineer. I was very much in a masculine role for much of my life. And so I learned how to do it the electric way. And I learned how to climb my way up the corporate ladder in this industry that was telling me, you're not enough. You don't know anything, And so, yes, that's it. And so when I hear, and that's why so many women are afraid, and just people in general are afraid to show emotions because there's the stigma of you're weak. Yes. And so now I love my tears because I recognize that's the antidote to opening my heart, which then opens your heart and opens everybody's hearts that are watching and tuning into this.
Yeah. And also when you speak and just, speaking through your heart and because speaking for myself, and I'm sure a few may agree, we overthink things all the time. Should I say this? Should I approach that person? Should I do this? And we're going against who we are. And that's also why, we were talking just before too, with human design, just touch on it really quick. Human design is something I just learned a few years ago. And I'm a test taker. I love taking tests and finding out as you start developing your sense of feminine and getting to learn yourself. I found by taking tests, it kind of affirms who I already knew how it was, but I didn't know it. But just that is why I'm doing that. It makes sense now. And every test just comes back with something that's that's right. And it just, you take it in and it's somebody just telling you you're on your right path because now you're starting to understand yourself. And it's beautiful. With human design, there's many, and the test that I took on your site, which we talked about real quickly, was who I'm not, but it's who I am, I think, right now at this time and place. Is because I'm manifesting things. I'm making things. So I'm a manifester. So it's just, and I know I'm just throwing names out there, but do you want to touch on manifest, just a little bit?
Yeah.
Just because I feel it's so, when you do, it's such an easy test to take.
Yeah.
And it opens up possibilities.
Yeah. And I do want to preface, so I feel like it's important to lay the foundation. So the Chinese I Ching, was developed thousands of years ago. I believe the book was called The Book of Change, and human design is a living transmission that was received in spiritual practice in 1987 by a man named Ra Uru Uru. And then I believe in 2004, it was Richard Rudd who then had the next iteration. He had been studying human design for many years and again received the gene keys. And what I love about this is that when you start to truly connect in and connect to your divinity and to your purpose, it's at the level of consciousness that the world is actually able to receive this information. So human design, I truly believe, serves a purpose However, 1987, right? Like the times are very different now. And so of course the foundation is still there, but probably in the next 20 years, we're going to see the next iteration of the gene keys, because this is how it works. As we're evolving, the information that's coming in, right, the wisdom is going to continue to evolve as we evolve, as we're ready for that.
Yeah.
So the way I describe these tools that again are just iterations of each other, I would definitely recommend, Gene Keys is very dense. It took many people over many years telling me to explore the Gene Keys, and I wasn't ready. I was like, nope. And I just felt it, because I know now, and we'll go into some practices later, I know when I'm a no in my body, and I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
That's the feminine. That's an example of the feminine, like not having FOMO, not having the mental chatter of, should I do this? Should I do that? And like buying all these books and doing all these things and saying yes to all these courses and coaches, right? I did that for years. It's part of the process of learning who you are again, which is why I loved discovering human design several years ago. And I just geeked out on it, and I got certified through my own practice because it felt like truth. And I started to feel relief, like you said, and then I started to help other people feel relief that they weren't crazy in how they were feeling. So it's basically a soul blueprint. It's a blueprint of who you are before society got its hands on you. And 9 times out of 10, I would say every session that I've ever had with people, they feel so seen, because I'm accessing their essence, their purest form, who they actually are without, and there, you can even feel the softening happen. Like, oh, that's
I am okay.
And there's 5 types. There's a lot of information in these tools, which this is why it's challenging, because people then almost, they want to latch on to something, right? So this is about allowing it to permeate you and to let the information transmit without needing to understand it all. So there's 5 types in human design: manifestor, manifesting generator, generator, projector, and reflectors. And without getting into all of the details, because I actually have other podcast episodes, there's all this I can send you to different, people who actually do this all the time. This is about, again, energetically how we're meant to show up in the world. So we're not all meant to perform the same tasks every day. Not everybody is like you and I are both generators, which is very electric. So it's not to say, because you took my quiz. So I guess I'll just explain it now, and then at the end we can kind of touch on it. There's a quiz that helps you cognitively determine how you're currently showing up energetically. And then once you get your answers, then I help show you how to access your human design body graph, and then you can see if it matches. So for Ingela, it didn't match. When she took the quiz, it was a manifestor, and energetically, she's actually, wired as a generator. So it's not to say, it's hard with the word manifestor, because people are like, wait, I want to be a manifestor. We co-create all the time. We're always co-creating with the universe. I call it co-creation versus manifestation. It's just a matter of energetically, how are we showing up? So it's just feedback of, oh yeah, like right now, maybe you're in this, space in your business where you're showing up a little bit differently. And then you always have your base to come home to. So it's not to say that just because we're at a certain time in our life, we're not changing energetically. That's what the mind wants to do. That's what the conditioning and programming wants to do. But the energetic blueprint helps bring us back into, this is actually what's sustainable for me. So even though you're operating at as a manifestor right now, it could serve its purpose, but it's not sustainable, because it's actually not what biologically allows you to keep going.
Yeah.
So it takes the pressure off too, because we're human, we're dynamic, we're trying things on. It's okay. I fall off all the time, and I'm not ashamed of it. Right?
Yeah. And I think for me, just taking these tests, like I mentioned before, it's just when you start reading about it. And I would, encourage everybody to look into it if it sounds intriguing, because there's a lot that should be like one topic. I don't have that topic on here. That's why I was, let's talk about it just a little bit, just to get a little nudge. Like, this is another thing, right? Because when I found out about it, it was more so, yeah, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
it makes sense. And it just feels good. And it's like, almost like acceptance.
yeah.
So it's like another key of just accepting who you are and loving yourself more. That's how I think that's how it showed up for me when I found out. Yeah.
And honoring our uniqueness, which is so powerful, right? And how all of us truly, for me, spirituality is showing up as our authentic selves, because we are meant to be individuated. And that's why all of us operating in the stronger masculine pole, of course, this is why we're seeing what's happening on the world. Things are shifting. And so this also starts to help you have a lens of trust and faith of the dissolving of old programs and paradigms within ourselves that also manifest in the collective. Because that's what I believe. Like, all of us are contributing to what's happening on the planet through our own inner turmoil, through our own belief systems. And that's why it's so powerful to truly be in that exploration of, who am I?
Yeah.
What do I even love? What fulfills me? What lights me up? Where do I want to live? Do I even want to be with this partner? Do I not want to, right? Like, that's when the courage and the power and all of that really starts to kick in. So what I love about, for example, human design, it's a more spiritual tool. We're seeing the world shift. In 1987, it was still like, what? But people are more receptive. We have tools like Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram, right? Which are more psychological. So we're starting to see people open up a bit more to, what would it look like to explore human design? And then when you do, you usually are like, oh, wow, this really does feel like me. This is who I am. I'm not crazy. And then you can start to take some of the steps to come home to who you truly are.
Yeah. And I think it just ties in so much with like bringing in your femininity, because the more you coming home to you, because it's a hard question. It's like, what lights you up? Like, if you asked me that maybe 10 years ago, I'd be like,
what? Exactly.
What lights me up? What do you mean? Like, or like, what you passionate about? My dog. It's like, you just don't know. And because I wasn't me, right? I wasn't living in, I wasn't me. I was always been me. I didn't change, but I was not being authentic.
Yeah. And you didn't know.
No, I did not know.
Yeah. A lot of times we don't know. And that also is the beautiful gift. I love that you presence this, because it's okay not to know, because when you're so out of attunement, you're like, oh yeah, I can have dreams. So many of my clients, they haven't even had the spaciousness to allow themselves to dream. And yes. And so this is the conversation that we're having, is it's okay not to know. And now you have the awareness, and now you can just start.
Exactly. And that's what this is about too. It's just like, because some will be like, I don't know what they're talking about, because that 10 years ago, that would have been me. I'm like, they're speaking Chinese to me right now, but it's taking that first step and just the awareness. It's like, something is not really working for me right now. I am stuck. I'm feeling great. I'm not as happy as I should be. That lady is really happy. And the way she's walking and swaying her hips, and she's so comfortable, like, I want that,
Yeah.
That's all about stepping into that femininity. So what are some like keys to like tap into our feminine essence? I love that word, essence.
Yeah. And I also love I want to just go back to that last piece of like, oh, I want that. Yes. What you're actually reading is the energy, right? So you don't want my life, and you don't want Ingela's life, right? You want your life, but this is the beauty. So exactly going into your next question is, when you feel comparison, let's start there.
Yeah, and you're drawn and you see it. It's a
Yes.
because many times, what do you mean energy? And now they're
Yes.
like, such good energy. There's a light about you. I was
Yes.
like, I do? Where?
Yeah. And I get it all the time because, oh my gosh, like the majority of communication is nonverbal. Our body is communicating, right? We see it all the time in the primal world, right? We see our body is literally reading through all of our senses what's happening. It's the same when somebody enters into a room who isn't sparkly, who is very contracted, who you're like, I don't know, but I just don't really want to go near them. And so it's not judgment. It's just there's a dense, resonance that they're emitting that we cannot see with the naked eye. So again, the masculine is very much about, we need the facts. We need to be able to see it. And now through the metaphysicists and through, quantum physics, we're starting to actually be able to put words to the unseen, right? To be able to actually show what's happening. Like Tesla is a great example. Everybody's driving their Teslas around. Tesla was an absolute spiritual metaphysicist. And this is what we're coming home to. So coming back to comparison, I love when I feel jealousy. I still have those moments of like, oh, I'm behind.
Oh,
All right, I'm behind. Oh, like this person did this and not, why should I be doing this, right? I have those moments. So what I do is I feel it. I allow myself to be okay with feeling comparison or jealousy. Just how we were kind of coming back full circle to our emotions. I allow myself to feel the emotions and I actually let the energy move in my body. And we can do practice a bit later where I will feel it and I will make noise, or I will clench my fists, or I will punch pillows, or I will shake it out, or I will cry in the bathtub, whatever it is. I will let the emotion teach me, guide me, bring me home. Once I do that, I can then be the observer of why this is really showing up for me. And I can notice where my wounding is. I can notice where this is stemming from. And I can just be in relationship and love all those parts of me so that I can then be in acceptance. Like, right? Once I'm in acceptance, then I can start to be in the celebration of this other individual that I'm feeling jealousy for. I can start to celebrate them. I can start to be excited for them. I can start to be like, oh my gosh, this woman who's swaying her hips down the street is showing me what's possible for my life, because I wouldn't be able to see it if it didn't live inside me too. And then I go into a whole realm of potentiality and I just get excited and then I take action. So that's how I move through life now, right? Is feeling and not making myself wrong for an emotion. And what happens is I don't stay in those resonances nearly as long as I used to, because I'm allowing the emotion to teach me. So this is how we can totally let go of the stigma of weakness, because I cry more than I ever have. And this is the most successful I've ever been in my business. This is the most alive I felt in my body. This is the most that my relationships in all areas of my life are continuing to thrive, because I'm walking in wholeness.
That's beautiful.
So that's it, is can you create the spaciousness to feel? Honestly, if you can do that one thing, this will allow you to step into your femininity, because when you're in an emotional charge, you're not present. You absolutely cannot be connected to the intuition of your femininity, to the wisdom that resides within you, if you're in an emotional charge. So that's the first piece, is to just be in it, feel it, move it with yourself. We don't want to get other people involved yet. Of course, we have our moments, but this is about, can you be in relationship with yourself and what you're feeling, so that you can then have a new lens to move through life too.
You're talking about intuition. Intuition is something some people go, what? Again, me, a few years ago, I would be like, what? Again, new word for me. And after I start learning about it, and now I scare myself how intuitive I can be. And now I'm like listening to me, and my stomach is like, oh, it's swirling, it's telling me something. It's like, what's happening here right now? And it's weird. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's like I know things, and then they come true, and I'll go, oof, that's exactly what I thought. It's just that intuitive. Like, how do we? So is that just like, because if we're starting to be in our body, so is it just like starting to feel?
That's it.
Just feel. What if well, I guess we'll go through this in our little practice, like, but I don't want to feel like, I know I had a conversation and they were like, I keep myself busy, so I don't have to feel.
Yeah.
And I was like, how's that working out? Or how will that work out in the future? You're gonna, something's gonna stop you. So you're just hiding your pain.
Yeah. And we all do it. So I think that's where we learn to, really have compassion for people who are hiding. We all have our vices. We all have the places that we go to avoid. And so I think the question is exactly that. If you want to connect to your intuition, then you get to start to feel. And I understand why people don't, because it hurts. But I promise you, the resistance to feeling is much more painful than just feeling it, right? That's what creates the perpetual suffering. So that's a beautiful place to start, is ask yourself, do I want to connect with my intuition? The answer may be no. But if you do, then just to have the awareness of like, oh yeah, I don't want to feel, and this is what I do. For me, it showed up in a multitude of ways. Overworking was absolutely one of them. Emotionally eating when I was exhausted. Again, that's another shadow in my life's work of my gene keys, is exhaustion, the shadow of exhaustion. And it was a lot around people pleasing. It was a lot around not being myself, not honoring myself. So now that I know how to do that, there's so much more capacity for me. And people will say, how do you have all of this energy? And it's because I've learned to feel. So I think being graceful with yourself, that it takes time, right? We create protection measures for a reason, but the reality is depending on what you believe, whether it happened from childhood or previous incarnations, it's not true anymore. So it still feels real in our body when we get triggered, right? When we're like, I don't want to feel that, but it's not true. So the question that I would have for those tuning in is, how bad do you want your highest potential to manifest in this reality? How bad do you want to call in your dream partner? How bad do you want to be of service and start your business or your nonprofit? So that's what's required, because this isn't about just tuning in here and having us share. Of course, you're receiving information. Again, even if your mind doesn't understand it, you're receiving a lot more on an energetic level. This is about just being like, to claiming it and knowing that it's going to be messy, and knowing that sometimes it's going to hurt, and knowing that sometimes you're not going to want to do it. And that's okay too. But to keep remembering what you're coming back to, which is, this is actually what I do want. And we're going to fall off, and we're going to get on the phone and our devices and scroll social media, and we're going to eat the chocolate cake at 2:00 in the morning. Right. And then we're like, okay. Oh, yeah. And then we're like, okay, but yeah, that didn't really serve me. I know why this happened, because I was exhausted, because I was overworking, because I was trying to do too much, and I was in my masculine, and I wasn't creating space, and I wasn't pausing, and I wasn't listening to myself. So what happens is it becomes fewer and far between. I have my falling off the wagons still, much less frequently though. Much less frequently. because we're human and things happen and there's disruptions and all of the things. So yeah, I love that. You can say no. You can say, I'm not ready for this yet, but I know I am soon.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's the awareness when you do fall off the wagon, so to speak. It's like now you actually know, oh, I actually did that. Before you would just do it. But now you're actually aware of it. So when you, and that's like the key, right? Because then you can change it.
Yes.
Right? Then you can go, why? Like look into it. Okay, where else is this showing up? Or, all these other
Yeah.
things. So I love the piece though with the stack energy. Do you want to do that little exercise? The
Sure.
energy. So are we closing our eyes? So I'll tell people not to do it while they're driving.
It helps to close your eyes, but you can do it driving. So it's up to you. If you're in a space where you're with self and you have no distractions, that will only help you drop in more. But I do things driving all the time while staying safe, obviously eyes open, but there's things that you can do to relax your body, for example, when you're driving while still being aware of your surroundings. So, you get to trust yourself and wherever your setting is right now.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. I'm excited.
All right.
I love this because I love it that it's more interactive. So we're not just talking, we actually like create an experience where they get to sit in it and feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what I was actually going to segue into before you asked, is the power of presence, because we actually believe it's not true, but we believe that we actually have to put more in order to receive. We have to do more. We have to constantly be giving and giving and giving. And that's not true. The more space that we actually create, the more clarity we have, the more understanding we have of how to move forward and how to trim the fat in our life of like, oh yeah, this project can go away and we don't need to do that house project. And this actually totally gets to leave my field. That's how we get clearer. And then we start to feel lighter in our bodies because all of that stuff is like a backpack of rocks, right? So yeah, let's just start. I feel like first I'll drop us into presence.
Yes.
And then I'll teach you how to work with some emotions, because working with emotions, like I said, is the first place to start. Just learning to feel. So if you're in a place to be able to close your eyes, please do so. Yes. So just starting to put your hands on your body. Again, if possible, you can always come back to this recording. All we're doing is slowing down the parasympathetic nervous system to let the body know that we are safe. So feeling the support of the earth beneath you, if your feet are planted on the ground or if you're sitting on a chair, just feeling that support for a moment. Starting to take fuller breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and almost melting our day away. So I always love to do this. I call them my miracle minutes, where for 1 minute, I simply just do this. I feel the support beneath me. I place my hands on my body. I slow down my breath. And I simply ask myself, what do I need? What can I give myself in this moment? Sometimes it's a glass of water. Sometimes it's a walk with my dog. Sometimes it's simply just this practice of breathing that can bring me back into presence. So I'll be quiet for a moment. Just ask yourself, what do I need? Sometimes it might be something quick. Sometimes it might be something that may require a little bit more time. So just honoring that, can you make a commitment to give that to yourself by the end of the day, the end of the week, again, dependent upon what it is. So coming back to our intuition, When we're in this down-regulated state in our nervous system, we are connected to our intuition. We are connected to our truth. So any questions that you ask in this state and whatever pops into your field is the truth. And the mind's gonna sometimes question it and want to ask a million other questions. But if you can just come back to asking the question, allowing it to come into your field, and then giving it to yourself, you'll start to notice more miracles pop in your life. You'll start to notice that you enjoy more of the spaciousness because you'll start to notice how people respond differently around you, how you feel you have more time in a day, for example, because there's less clutter in the mind. So just feeling your relationship with that. And so I'm going to walk you through briefly, because the first stage of the embodiment work that I take my clients through is around the emotions, the map of consciousness, through the work of Dr. David Hawkins, where we have a whole range of emotions that actually carry different resonances and frequencies, right? So that's how when we're feeling grief and we're feeling shame and we're feeling sadness, we can feel that in our body. It feels dense. We know what it feels like when we're frustrated or angry in our bodies. So the first grouping of emotional states I call the heavy. So we know what that's like. So if you're in this moment feeling sad, feeling just like you don't want to get out of bed, the invitation is to just let yourself be held by your seat, by the floor underneath you, continuing to breathe deeply. Maybe you want to give yourself a hug. So just practicing giving yourself a hug. Maybe giving yourself some self-massage on your neck if you're feeling certain areas that are tense. Even just dropping the head forward and allowing yourself to be heavy, just giving yourself the space to be in that. And again, I'm taking you through this practice, but you could do this for longer if you have the spaciousness for it. And then we move into what I like to call the resonances of the verge, which are anger, frustration, pride, what I like to call sacred rage. Mm-hmm. So if you're feeling frustrated and like, ugh, everybody knows that feeling, give that to your body. You can let sounds out. You can hold a pillow up to your face and just scream into a pillow. You can throw rocks into a creek. Just clenching. So can you clench your legs and can you clench your fists together and just hold, and just release it. And then we move into the resonances of what I call the catalysts, which are courage and acceptance and liberation. It's where we start to actually move that energy of those more dense emotions into something better, right? This is where we turn our pain into purpose. So this is where the heroine energy lives, right? This is where the warrior energy lives. And so you might even just want to stomp around and shake your body. And you maybe want to put your hands over your head and just look up, shake it around. You could even start to say things like, yes, you can give yourself a high five in the mirror. It doesn't matter. Can you be in that power pose position, right? Like, what does it feel like to stand tall? To be proud? Can you hold your head high and can you have this proud chest? And can you say thank you to yourself? Thank you for doing the work. Thank you for allowing the space to feel. Thank you. And then We're in the resonances of the expanse. And this is where love and joy and freedom and bliss live. So even noticing, I mean, I do this all the time and I feel so much better just from this short practice. I feel more connected. I can feel the blood pumping through my veins. I feel more inspired. I feel more grounded. And so can you just like be in the resonance of presence of, what would joy feel like in my body? What would it feel like to unconditionally love myself? This is the space where you just can dream and visualize and play. So this is where you can maybe go play in the rain. I mean, this is where I'll put a tutu on and go out in the rain. I'll color. I'll listen to my favorite song. I'll just bask in possibility. And so just playing with that for a bit. Again, none of these emotions are bad. They're guideposts that are leading us towards our evolution, towards what's meant for us. And what I'd like you to do now, if your eyes are closed, is to open your eyes from this new layer of awareness. Maybe something crystallized for you. Maybe you received some messages. Maybe you received some clarity. Maybe you're just like, wow, I was afraid to feel before this, but this actually wasn't so bad. I might try this again sometime. So just opening your eyes, coming back, and notating if you feel any different. And it's okay if you don't, but just noticing. I would love to hear from you if you feel any different or what landed for you.
I feel as soon as you said the heart and the joy, I just light up because I live in that space. Like that just like I am that playful. I haven't put my tutu on to go in the rain because I don't have a tutu, but like I am, and I live that, and it just lights me up. It just lights me up right there. It's my home right there. And then my other is the frustration. Like that's my other go-to, being frustrated.
Yeah.
But it's the awareness of shifting it and moving away from it, because if you get stuck in it, that's where you need to move away. So it's that awareness again. So yeah, it feels good. It's like I think anytime you just slow down, stillness was the first word that came into my word. The first question you asked, what word that comes in? Stillness. And I was like, do I even know what that is? And I'm not meaning stillness as sitting still. I mean, just like that.
Yeah. And it's different every day. Sometimes my body is craving movement and sometimes my body is craving stillness. And that's the power of just giving that gift to what, again, intuitively you're connecting into. And what you'll start to notice is the mind. You'll start to create evidence of, wow, this is actually working. Wow, I'm feeling better. Wow, this is simpler. Oh, wow, I'm noticing I don't feel as stressed in a day and I don't feel so overwhelmed with all the tasks. And I will say that one of the ways that generators like us are out of alignment is through frustration, is through the resonance of frustration. So I love that you presence that, because when we're in that frustrated state, we actually are restricted from shining our light. It's a block. So creating an opportunity to walk away for a minute to create that stillness allows us to be like, okay, why am I frustrated? What am I missing? Right? What do I need in this moment? And so again, it's all neutral feedback, which I love.
Yeah. And it's for me, it's also something like right now, there's a lot of things going on, moving pieces. So like this morning I was overwhelmed and I was like, and my friend I was talking to, she was going into overwhelm. So I told, go out, stand on the grass, barefoot, just stand there and breathe and ground yourself. And it's like, so she did it and she felt great. I have two friends I keep saying this to. And then I was like, well, what about you, Ingela? You're getting a little overwhelmed. So then I went outside. I don't have grass here, but for me to just sit, I took my shake and if I just sit in the sun for a little bit,
Yeah, same.
5 minutes. And I was like, all right, good. I can continue now. It's just like,
Yeah. Exactly. And what's interesting is we think that if we put in an hour of work that we need an hour of rest, but sometimes it's literally just the pause between. That's a micro pause of a sacred moment. So yes, I have deep spiritual practice, but this is more about who are you being when you're at the gas station pumping gas? Right? It's like the miracles that I am surrounded by, that we all are, is amazing, but so many of us are just moving on to the next thing through the conditioning. So this is a simple tool, exactly that, getting out in nature to bring us back into the natural rhythms of life without our devices, gives us the reset to get the clarity on how to move next. So of course, I wake up anxious all the time, and then I'm like, okay, breathe. Okay, get outside, look at the sun. I mean, there's things that I know how to do now to bring myself back into coherence. And that's just through practice and through the tutu thing in the rain. Like, it wasn't something that my mind made up. It was like, that's what I asked myself. I had a tutu from like a mud run event that I did 10 years ago, and I still had it. And it was so fun. It was so fun and so freeing to just do something that most would deem like weird unless you're 5. And that's how you really start to own who you are, because just like you, my true gold is in my playfulness. And the more that I'm in my playfulness, the more I receive everything that I'm calling in, and the more that I'm of service to people in my life. And so sometimes, you get to, it's up to you how deep you want to go and how much you want to play in that exploration. But over time, it does become easier. So,
yeah. The playfulness to me is, if I walk down the street and I see a swing. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm unless it's in their yard. Then I won't do it.
Exactly.
But like, I want to. But
Yeah.
it's like, I would encourage people, listen, I do this in one of my challenges, go to the playground.
Yes.
Go to the playground and jump on the swing and just feel that motion. And it's like liberating, and it may
It's so
feel
liberating.
awkward, especially if there's kids in the park and they're going to be like, what is she doing? Or they may enjoy it. I don't know. Right. Or pick a park where there's nobody, but just find a park and go for a swing.
Go for a swing.
Something
Exactly.
about the movement. I think it's just, tree swings in the park. It's
All of it.
you're tapping into that playfulness, which is a huge part of being feminine, and tapping into that essence. And it's how you're glowing and how you're radiating that light, which is all about. And it like, shine your light, right? Because this is why I want this to be, right? Everybody like step out and start to beam their light and show their light.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. So I already asked you about but this I'll ask again, but we didn't tap into that. Your free gift.
Yes.
We talked about it, but what is your free gift?
Yeah. So it's an 8-question quiz. Again, we talked about it earlier, that will start to allow you to tap into your soul blueprint and tap into your feminine frequency. So once you take the quiz, you'll put your email in and it will explain the results. But then I actually give you more information in an email sequence of actually how to embody, once you actually know what your human design type is, how to embody your energy. So I use movement, I use song. So again, the feminine also, we're coming back into the feeling, like the actual embodiment of what it means to be a human, not just, oh, this is my energy and I'm going to think my way through this. So I notice that when I bring movement and a little bit more fun and play into the realm, it's actually received so much more fluidly to where you're not getting caught up in the like, what does this mean? So this is what I love. Like if you're lacking clarity, again, get on the swing, go rollerblade, dance around and shake it up, because that sometimes, most of the time, will lead you to what's next. So I am all about coming back to our essence. I call it soul shine, right? It's that purest form of who we are underneath the programming and the conditioning that we've been brought up in at a cultural and societal level. And it's a great place to start. So it's fun, it's lighthearted. You can sell the vibe here. Like, I believe that transformation and healing can be fun, and it doesn't need to be so like, it can really be gentle. And I find that this is a beautiful place of homecoming of, oh, okay, here's a little blueprint of just a course correction when I'm feeling out of alignment, how I can, return back to what's authentic to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I love it. Anything to round it up? Anything I didn't talk about, ask, because we're kind of just going with the flow and see where we land with these conversations, which I love because it means they're authentic and we're not going after script. We're just,
oh yeah. I know. Again, script. When I'm on a script, like I'm in the head. So I love when it
exactly. Yes.
Organically.
Going to the masculine, because I had to follow rules. I'm like, oh no. The playfulness, again, I'm going to just tap into that. It's dancing. Like when you take up dancing, and I have Burlesque Lady on here. You probably have already watched her by this time you're watching this. And it's just that movement, and any kind of movement, any kind of dancing, just dancing around your house, dancing in a dance class, just that movement, whatever that looks for you. There's so many ways to tap into it.
Yeah.
So anything you want to just like wrap it all up and put a little bow on it.
Well, that's really, I believe, my mission in life is igniting, humanity to embody the rhythm of their soul, right? Everything has a rhythm, and, like walking, right? When we breathe, it's a rhythm. When we connect with Mother Nature, there's a rhythm, right? When we connect to the cosmos, there's a rhythm, right? When we connect to our heartbeat, walking in nature, dancing, right? This actually helps us come back to center. And that's all that I teach, right? I teach, my group program is all centered around, I use music because it's so much easier when you're listening to a song to drop in than like really just sitting still, which a lot of the time, the yogic practice of meditation was developed by man. And so it works often, but what I find is moving my body first is actually what opens me up to be able to be in stillness. So have fun with it. Explore. This is about trying things on. What works for Ingela and I may not work for you, but you're learning from all of these beautiful beings where you can try. You just try, because nobody knows your soul but you. All we can do is share the tools and the practices and the wisdom that's supporting us. And then, you kind of start to come home to yourself through practice. Yeah. Life is a practice. So with that, I am complete, and I truly am honored and grateful. You can reach out anytime, and I hope that the quiz supports you.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you so much. And her information will be below with her gift, and everything is down below. So you know how to get hold of this beautiful being. Yeah, I love this so much. This is my home too. It feels so good. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping others find themselves again, because I know how it feels to be I think I'm happy, but I don't think I'm happy.
Yeah.
Right? Feeling, and it's a yucky feeling. So when you coming out of that, it's beautiful. It's a journey. We learn every day. Every day. We're growing every day. So it's beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And the feminine leaves no one behind, which is why when you start to transform, you want to bring everyone with you.
So is that what it is? Because I was like, you all need this. Yeah.
Yes. So that's where you really start to get into, there is no scarcity, right? There is no competition. We all get to rise together. And this is the new paradigm, which is why I have full body goosebumps, because this is the world that I know is possible and that I know that we're all stepping into. So just thank you for, yeah. So thank you for setting up this beautiful event. And thank you for those watching who said yes and created the space, because I know it's so easy to just say I'm too busy. So celebrating you.
Yeah. Thank you for saying yes to you. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you to the audience, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Much love.
Much love.